Hello, hello, hello. Holy crap. Oh, and it just resets everybody. Great. Oh my god, YouTube. This is frustrating. Super, super frustrating. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. Everything started acting up. Yeah, no, so the mic got disconnected. The USB mic got disconnected. And here's the funny part about this YouTube program is that if you replug the mic into the computer, it won't recognize that the microphone is in there. So yeah, so we're gonna have two videos, two live stream updates. Roll 9 broke the system. Sorry guys, super sorry about that. Yeah, if I unplug the microphone for whatever reason, the video or the micro and then replug it back in, the microphone won't turn on. So I really do that. YouTube needs to work on this. If they want me to use their program to live stream, which is a hell of a lot easier, in my opinion, to set up, they need to make sure that the mic works. Because yeah, that was frustrating to say the least. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the winner is Thendrake Wargaming. You have won your Plague Marines. So you need to get in contact with me, Thendrake, and I will let you know in the comments that you've won. So there's that. Oh God, that irritates the hell out of me. Whoo! Damn, YouTube. You do so many things right. YouTube does so much right. But then chokes at the end. Really does choke at the end when it comes to like how they make the damn YouTube stuff. So that being said, oh, so frustrating. So frustrating. I can't believe that YouTube doesn't have like some sort of what's it called? Yeah, it's a small inconvenience, but we were in the middle of conversating, and I was in the middle of announcing. I know. I love y'all. I really do. So anyway, Thendrake has won the giveaway for that last battle report. It was the dice roll was on a 6, so Thendrake has won. So thank you very much for sticking with me for that. Anyway, let's talk about some news in the community, in the Warhammer community, real quick. Did you say Joseph B? I heard Joseph. No, it was Thendrake. Joseph B was 8. Joseph B was number 8. Just kidding. No, I know it's all out of love. So, but Joseph, if you still want to partake in this last battle report, go ahead and log on and leave a comment, and whatnot. So we'll do that. Anyway, so let's talk about some news or some controversies in the Warhammer what's called community. So they recently just came out with female models for the Stormcast. About fucking time. But it caused an uproar because it's caused an uproar because of two things. The first one is that they still have when we talk about it, we still have gossip and drama. Yay, just did. Okay, great. So the Stormcast just released female models for Age of Sigmar. Fucking finally, I am so glad they did that. I'm so glad they did that. I'm happy that they did that. But people are up in arms because of the model still has I guess the boob plate issue, the breastplate issue. So I looked at it, and I looked at this particular model, and Games Workshop did a lot right. They also did they also did a lot they did a lot right, and they could still do better. Is I guess the question is guess what I'm trying to say. So if you go on to the warhammercommunity.com page, they actually show the female Stormguard pre-order, right? And all throughout Facebook, this has just been blowing up. The controversy, as it were. It's not a controversy. Games Workshop is actually doing decent, hearing out what people are saying. Hey, you're over-sexualizing the or not necessarily over-sexualizing, but boob plate is kind of ridiculous. All right. It's while there has been historical precedence for some breastplate armors to have molded breasts in them, they were for ceremony only. They weren't for battle. Wait, what's wrong with boob plate? It's not that there's nothing wrong with it per se. I mean, I can go on pretty extensively on like, hey, it's a model. Let's not waste our time with it. It's just a toy model. But at the same time, this kind of boils into the whole representation argument that's been brewing on Facebook and whatnot ever since this new model's released. Joan of Arc has them. Jesus. No, actually, Joan of Arc wore male armor, not female armor. So there's that. But let's get so the argument that's been going online for the whole boob plate stuff is the whole representation. Games Workshop finally released a female model. That's great. They have some stuff that they still need to work on, representation being one of them. Yes, absolutely. Female guardsmen. I'm still waiting for my female guardsman models. Hell, I'm still waiting for my Sisters of Battle. The Sisters of Battle plastics. They did a really good job with the Stormcast female model. It still has like the boob shelf, as it were, and I'll link it in the description below the actual model that I'm referring to, the molded breast shelf on the breastplate. And I understand that it's a stylized that it's a stylized or I guess it's I guess that what they're going for is a particular style. Well, to be honest, the whole representation thing is not needed in general. I'm all for equality and stuff, but there are female models and Sisters of Battles need a remake. Majority of history, a large portion of the army have been male. Not from a point of sexism view, from a point of survival. So yes, there has been a so the whole conversation as it was, you leave females and minor part behind for the males. Males get wiped out. The females reproduce. So here's the thing, man, and this is where I get this is where I chime in, is that, look, you want to expand the hobby. Representation is needed. All right. Games Workshop, from a company standpoint, wants to get as many players in as possible, right? So from a company standpoint, representation is required. They did a great job with this female Stormcast model. But they also need to understand, like, the groupthink in the community as it was. So did they? So there are three questions that that people have kind of been brewing about this whole stuff for the Stormcast model and representation in GW. Should they redo the Sisters of Battle plastics? Yes. Does the Sisters of Battle plastics, does the Sisters of Battle model, even though they are highly stylized, do they need to be remade? Absolutely. Can we get rid of the ridiculous notion of boob plate? Yes, we absolutely can, because you go into any modern military nowadays, and females don't have breastplate armor or boob plate armor. They wear the same armor as we do, as us guys do, and you can hardly tell, for the most part, unless they are severely well endowed. You can barely tell that there's no deforming of the body armor that they're wearing. So yes, back in history, the traditional female role was to stay behind and just be the broodmare for the state. But that's a sexist view of the, what's it called? That's a sexist view of what the traditional sexist view of what things are. Was that historically accurate? Yes, but that doesn't mean that it's okay now. Just because it's historically accurate does not mean that it's okay now, kind of a deal. And as a company, GW needs to broaden itself to it. If the whole goal of GW is to expand its business model, then it needs to, inclusivity is what it needs to be. Yes, Slaaneshi armies are gender fluid because it's Slaanesh. It is the prince and princess of darkness and pleasure. But keep in mind, while Slaanesh is a chaos god, now you're painting gender fluid as something, subtly. Okay, this is what people would call a dog whistle, right? You are dog whistling that, hey, if there's more than two, or if you have something that's sexually deviant, okay, then they're Slaaneshi players, then they're evil because they're bad for the Imperium and all that stuff. And while the Imperium's no fucking cakewalk, And they're not the most they're not the bastion of progressivism as what people would consider it, because it is 40K is grimdark, right? And the standard kerfuffle and fracas as it were is that, oh, you don't need this, it's grimdark, you don't need to be PC in grimdark. Okay, well, yeah, you could argue that, and I can understand why you argue that. But at the same time, the same with Ancient Armor. You got to remember, Altazi writes, the same with Ancient Armor. You got to remember that you just don't wear plate armor. There are so many levels. There are so many layers that unless you are incredibly well endowed as a woman, there'd be no need for boob plate. Orcs are the pinnacle of progression. Most players don't even realize that half the boys aren't boys at all. So yeah, I mean, look. Yes, I know that's kind of genderless mushroom gods. Yeah, well, okay, but this is the point I'm getting at, right? Is that there is a group culture, a group think that says, hey, the human aspects of the 40K, not the chaos gods, and they're just focusing on the Imperium. The Imperium is a purge, clean, rinse, repeat. God. So here's the thing, right? This particular culture that's asking for representation is saying, hey, we don't want to play chaos. We don't want to play orcs. We don't want to play Tau or Eldar or whatnot. We want to play an Imperial army that's more accurate of the representation. And that wasn't made in 1980, which is what I think when the sister models were made. Join the Tau. We let our females bunk with us. Well, okay. As funny as that joke is, it's also very crass. But I understand. I understand where that joke gets it from. But remember, we're talking about giving a fair shake to everybody, right? Heresy. God. So here's what we're talking about. Games Workshop as a company is about representation, or should be about representation, because if you're a company that's based on representation, you'll get more people to buy into your market, as it were. And they're finally doing that. Yes, is GW very stylized in its approach for its models? Correct. However, styles change. Case in point, this was a stormtrooper in circa 89. Stormtroopers now, they've changed drastically. So this was a stormtrooper back in 89. This is a stormtrooper 2012. Been a little different. Okay. Highly different. Alrighty. So model designs change. Hell, I could go even further. The metal ones were better, or are better. I believe, and that's your preference. If the Khazarkin models are the ones you want to play with, fine. But we also have to remember, Khazarkin models are super expensive. I think they're $45, for a pack of 10. And that's not including the fact that you have to wait forever to get them special ordered. So, I'm glad GW is finally hearing the player base and saying, hey, we want more female models. I think they can take it one step further and saying, all right, we're going to get rid of the boob plate and we're going to get rid of the combat heals, which they almost did. Yeah, seriously though, it's 40K, not the 1200s. Things change. I don't get the sense that the Imperium really cares about men so much as you're dying for them. Yeah, the Imperium really does not care about your gender. As so long as you're able to pick up a rifle and fight. They really don't. They really don't. And everyone complains about, well, what they're really asking for is female Space Marines. So what? That, in my opinion, so what? Let them have their female. I mean, the Stormcast are basically female Space Marines. Oh well, there was a point in time where Space Marines were female, and then they were written out, and then they were written back in, and then they were written out, and then so that's that, right? And now we're talking about, well, the lore, and this is where this whole drama comes from. Is that people are talking about the lore of 40K, and they're saying overall, they're saying like the social justice warriors, the SJWs, are ruining 40K and ruining Games Workshop. No, Games Workshop is a company. Join the Guard to travel. I really don't. Okay, so Joseph B says, join the Guard to do unexplored places, meet new people, see new creatures, and purge them all. Yep, that's the Imperial Guard. And Sebastian writes, I really don't care. I really don't mind so much as as long as the models aren't garbage. But in general, this is all a very, very minor but vocal portion of the community that started all this shit. Well, they have a right to. All right, just like you have a right to your opinion. The difference is that we have to have these conversations and meet on common ground, right? And see where we have to have more empathy, understand where the person is coming from. I try to be empathic. All right. I may not agree with what you're saying, but I at least want to know where you're coming from. All right. And for those of you who don't know, I'm heavily more liberal than a lot of my contemporaries. Yes, they have a right to do. Yes, they have a right to, but that doesn't mean. That doesn't mean that a company should make business decisions based on a vocal minority. The valid point, Sebastian, and then RC Malatin writes, the problem. The problem is neither side is willing to give ground and blame the other for not compromising. So if done right, unless the helmets are off, you couldn't really tell if the females are the female from male Space Marines either way, or all models, etc. What I'm not looking for is changing a model range purely because someone complains. For instance, the Sisters of Battle are great. They just need updating. Well, okay, but it's not about complaining. It's about there. So this is the big argument with the Sisters of Battle. It's what people would consider over-sexualizing the sisters. Yes, they are very much stylized. For example, the Sisters Repentia being covered, had just having litany scrolls covering their body. That is, some people would not see that as sexualization, but I do. Okay, and a lot of people would, because it's like, you wouldn't, while you are armored in your faith, you don't charge into battle with just a scroll and a thong and hope that you come out of it alive. Yeah, the over-the-top models, that's fair enough, but the armored ones. Okay, a perfect example, if we're going to talk about the armored ones. All the Sisters of Battle have combat heals. Let me tell you something. If you've dated any woman for a long t-shirt save, if you've dated anyone for a long time, if you dated a female for a long time, they're going to tell you that they would prefer to wear flats instead of heels when they go out on dates. Some women do love wearing heels, but they are in a minority. My wife tells me all the time she loves the heels that I buy for her, but if she had a choice, she'd wear comfy boots, maybe a small heel, no more than an inch or two, like a kitten heel, and whatnot. Combat heel. Well, true. The combat heels make no sense. True, but they're a style choice that's iconic. Yes, they are a style choice that is iconic, and I agree that Sisters of Battle are stylized, but that doesn't mean that the company can't say, you know what, this was stylized, this was good in the '80s, but we want to make sure that we're inclusive. Because if the company makes the decision to be inclusive, that's their decision. And we should support that company's decision to be inclusive because guess what that means? That means that we get more players to play with, okay, who would normally sit on their laurels. And maybe they'd be awesome players, and maybe we get to know them better, and maybe we get to understand where they come from. That the opportunity to learn something new is something that, or the opportunity to understand and empathize with someone new is something that's greater, and that makes us better as human beings. That's just me. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, like I said, I think that I think that if they definitely need to remodel Sisters of Battle, and I think that they definitely need to put in female guardsmen because yeah, you're wearing your helmet, and yeah, you wouldn't know if it's a boy or a girl, but there are feminine features to a boy or a girl, and that stuff. So a little tool remodeling and whatnot could be good for at least the guard. And besides, the guard plastics need updating anyway because they don't have half the shit that you want. Joseph B has very feminine features. I mean, hey, if you feel that that's the case, have at it. So anyway, so that had been the drama basically. And honestly, if you look at the model, the Neve Blackweaver or Neve Black Talon, that's her name. They did a really good job. I mean, granted, she still has instead of the combat heel, it's a combat wedge ish, but it's not outrageous. Again, I think the boob plate is a little ridiculous, but it's pretty good. They did a pretty spot on job of making this model. Sorry, I'm strength. Thank you, Joseph. So I think they did a pretty good job of what they had and what they had available. So good on you, Games Workshop, for at least listening. You didn't change a whole lot, but you changed enough to say, okay, we're listening. So that is kind of the controversy that happened over the weekend. The boob plate, at least it's not overdone. It's one piece and not molded. Yeah, like I said, it's not molded. It's not like per cup like the Sisters of Battle. And honestly, I think that's really why people are kind of turned off, no pun intended, who, with how Games Workshop has stylized the females in the past. Yes, you could argue, well, they've stylized the Dark Elves, and they've stylized the Dark Eldar, and they've stylized the Eldar models, quite frankly. And yes, that is true. Compared to how high fantasy is generally sexualized, the boob plate is conservative. Yes, absolutely. People have made that argument, as in, like, well, the Dark Elves are over sexualized, the Dark Eldar are over sexualized. Absolutely, I agree with you. Is that a hill I also want to take and make my arguments on? Yes and no. Yes, because I think it's indicative of the problem with a lot of high fantasy. Nobody mentioning the slave models. Yeah, well, the slave models got discontinued. Actually, they got discontinued a while back. Um, and I think for that very reason. Yeah, yeah, they got discontinued. The slave models got discontinued. The Dark Eldar slave models got discontinued. I don't even think they make them anymore. I think you can find them on eBay and whatnot, but they are certainly out of production. They do not make those anymore. Which, you know, I mean, they were there for show. They weren't there for stats. Like they weren't a stat line. They were there for eye candy for the kids, for the young men. I mean, let's be real about this. So do I science fiction has been really hard for females to get into because of how back in the 80s and the 90s and even in the early 2000s science fiction has been really kind of the males only club, really. And I know that there's more females in anime and whatnot. And look, Daddy, what's that? Yes, absolutely. So that's kind of the thing. So my local scene has about 35% of a female player base. That's good. I can tell you my local scene has 0. I met one female player once. Now, I don't know about where I grew up in Massachusetts, what the ratio is there, but, or what the ratio is there now. Actually, I do know. So before I joined the military, there was only one female player, and she played Dark Eldar, and she loved the way that they were stylized. But when she got out of it because the problem is that her code, the Dark Eldar Codex, wasn't updated. And like by the time they got into, I think it was 4th edition, she was like, you know what, I'm done because my codex hasn't received any love. And the only other army I can play is Sisters of Battle, and that codex hasn't received any love. So I'm done with the game because the only the 2 predominantly female armies at the time was just check the prisoner models are still up for sale. I thought they took them down. Well, that's something that they needed, that they definitely needed. The slaves are gone though. Okay, all right. Well, the slaves were the nude ones. Okay, well, I guess that's a little better. Not by much, but a little better. Yeah, the prisoners. Ah, So, I mean, the prisoners still need to go, in my opinion. They don't do anything really for asides the fact that it's for flavor. Come on, dude. I mean, if you really want flavor, go find a restaurant. You can modify your armies in all sorts of ways that the flavor is still there. You don't need to just tout super sexualized female prisoners. Like I get that's the reason for the Dark Eldar, and we all know that. But at the same time, the lore speaks for itself. Honestly, they were just trash models. They are. So getting rid of them, I don't think would be a loss. But this is where people are like, oh, you're just making a big deal out of it, blah blah blah. No, I'm not making a big deal about it. I am simply stating that, as a dad with a daughter, I want my daughter to get into science fiction. I want my daughter to get into anime. I want my daughter to enjoy the stuff that Uh, oh, as complete off topic, what do you think of? What are your thoughts on non-GW models? Got any recommendations for a starter faction for Warhammer? Okay, all right. Well, let me finish this thought, and then I'll get to your guys' answers, or your guys' questions. So I gotta, so I think as a dad, hey, I want to get my daughter into Warhammer, into 40K, into all that stuff. But, I also want her to not feel marginalized, to not feel like, the stuff I like. How old is your daughter? If at teen reading level, grab Jack McDevitt stuff, really good sci-fi female lead. My daughter's 2. So she's not reading just yet, or she reads like kids books and whatnot, like the toddler books, but she's not, I'm talking about later on down the road, right? But I'm also thinking about dads that have teenager daughters too, and it's inclusivity is only going to help the brand anyway, in my opinion. So, I just don't want people feeling left out or feeling marginalized because it's like, oh, well, I only, I would love to get into science fiction, but every single time I see a female character, she's super sexualized or what the case is. So me as a dad, I can understand that because that's what it was back when I was growing up. I'm like, hey, all these women are scantily clad and they're wearing short skirts and combat heels and all that stuff. Yeah. Nah, not anymore. That used to be me, but not anymore. And that's still another thing that's going on, is that it's not active sexism in the community, or at least I hope it isn't. But at least I hope it isn't in the community. But that's the thing. So that was the big controversy of GW. So anyway, to answer your guys' questions, completely off topic, what are your thoughts of non-GW models? So Sebastian, what do you mean by non-GW models? Like how the stylized, how their models are stylized? Like, are we talking War Machine and Confrontation, or are you talking about like I'm confused on what you're. I guess what you're trying to talk about. I mean, is using them in games, not as whole army, but saying lead characters. Me personally, if you find a model like from War Machine or Confrontation that is that matches what your guy has and is similar to your guys' whatever the case, right? Your guys' kit. Bring it to the table. Talk about it. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on, guys. All right. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, it might have been the Emperor. So anyway, yeah, if you bring confrontation models, then by all means, let me know. And I'll do that. So, and then to answer Rick Sanchez. So, what is a good army for Warhammer? So, we need to ask you this one question. Do you mean Warhammer 40K or do you mean Age of Sigmar? That's the first question we got to ask you. Because if it's Warhammer 40K, people are mentioning some good armies. So, for example, moving fast glass cannons sound like Dark Eldar and Eldar. That's that's true. Like, they are fast, they are mobile, they hit hard, but they really can't take punishment. Middle ground for your Marines, or middle ground is definitely Space Marines, whether Chaos or regular Space Marines. Guard and Tau are definitely more complicated. Orcs are not necessarily complicated, but you definitely don't want to start orcs if you want to like be aggressive and win a lot. Toughness Xenos for the win. Lol. Yeah. So for Rick Sanchez, for Morty, it all depends on what he wants to play. Oh, it was someone. I didn't save this guy. Oh man. Hey guys, hold on a second. I gotta give this guy a call. Excuse me for 2 seconds. Because I really want to continue this conversation, but it is work. Work just came up, so so here's what I'll do. Let's just wrap this up a bit, and to answer the question, do a BRB. All right, we'll be right back. I do have to mute the Nah, just leave it running. Okay, all right, we'll leave it. I'll leave it running. So, but I will mute the microphone. All righty. Okay, I am super sorry about that, guys. So, anyway, on the army subject, if you don't go with the army that you can connect with, then you go with the army then you most won't you won't the then you most likely won't enjoy playing with them, let alone painting and building them. Yes, yes. That is a good answer. For the army subject. So Rick Sanchez, you want Morty to build an army for on his free time. So here's what you need to do. You need to figure out what army he wants, what army he likes to play with. Hell, even view my battle reports, and then make a decision. So you've seen the Dark Eldar in action. You've seen my Guard in action. You've seen my there's still a massive fantasy following for Warhammer Fantasy. Yes, absolutely. It's just very difficult. Not in our area. Yeah, not in our area, unfortunately. It's all Age of Sigmar around here. So, but so with that, you just need to figure out what you want. Now, if you want to do fantasy, I will do fantasy. I will start doing fantasy. I haven't collected fantasy. I don't know where to start with fantasy. Maybe do the Empire, because gotta love the Emperor, either Karl Franz or the Emperor. So, but yeah, so there's that. Anyway, yeah, so that's all that we kind of got so far today. Yeah, high elves. Hell, if you want fantasy, I have a crazy amount of high elves I don't want anymore. High elves are redonkulous. Wood elves are even more disgusting because they've got all those ranged units, including their ranged cavalry. That's super frustrating. Because their ranged cavalry can just move around the battlefield and just shoot you all damn day, and they've got a decent firing arc too, if I remember correctly. So, but anyway, so that's kind of what we talked about. A little bit of the controversy with Games Workshop and whatnot. But anyway, what do you guys? So we talked about what you guys want to see next. We talked about we did the winners. By the way, Thendrake, you've won. You're playing Marines. I'll get in contact with you. And then we talked about the controversy. Is there any lore that you guys want to talk about? And army selections. We talked about army selections before we end this. Because I would like to talk about some lore, but I don't think there's any new things coming out, new lore coming out recently. Besides the fact that they're reintroducing the Dark Elves. Also, what is the name of the guy who hasn't contacted you? He wanted the Fire Warriors. Let me create an email with his name. Funny. Yeah. No. We got to be fair. We got to be fair about that. So, anyway, if no one wants to talk about lore, I guess this is the end of the show. Because I really don't have anything else. March will be big for more 3 new Xenos Codex. Yes, 3 new Xenos Codex. Yes. And one of them is going to be the Orcs. I can't wait. The Orcs and the Dark Eldar. So, yay. I can't wait. So I did have to ask this. I think I have room for one more army to do battle reports. So, what in the comments below, you guys need to write what you guys want to see as another army, whether it's Xeno, whether it's Chaos, whether it's Imperium. Kind of need to know. Necrons. All right. Yay, Tau Codex. Yes, the Tau are finally going to get a goddamn Codex too. So Necrons. So we got one for Necrons. What else do you guys want to see? Because right now we have Orcs, we have Dark Eldar, we have Imperial Guard, we have Space Marines, we have all kinds of Space Marines. Flesh Terrors. That's Space Marines. More Necrons. More Necrons? Question mark. So I have collected Dark Eldar, Dark Eldar, Orcs, Imperial Guard, Dark Angels. Those are my armies, and then I have Chaos on sprue. I have Eldar on sprue, and I think that's it. Oh, and I also have Plague Marines, the Dark Imperium box on sprue too. So I've got some Nurgle guys too. I don't have demons, but those are the 5 that I've got. I've got Dark Angels, Imperial Guard, Dark Eldar, Orcs, Chaos, and Eldar on sprue. So those right now I only have 4. Do enjoy the Dark Eldar. No chance. More Tau is always my vote. Necrons as well. Yeah, Tower Necrons. All right, so Tower Necrons really is. I think that's what we're getting at. I also have a small unit of Adeptus Mechanicus, but they're still in the boxes. So, like I said, I need to figure out what I can do. And by the way, when I mean collecting an army, I mean like purchasing it in full, painted and whatnot, because I don't have the time to paint and build, unfortunately. Not like I used to. So when I take leave, I'm going to be able to do all that stuff, but Necrons. Okay, it looks like Necrons it is. But when this video uploads, I will you could purchase my Necrons painted. No, I don't want to purchase your Necrons painted. They're your army. Like I appreciate it if you guys want to give your armies up, but like they're your army. No, I didn't paint them. And so like I want Tau. Well, there are a lot of people that are trading Tau. That will be mine. So yeah, there's that. And right now we got it. Oh shoot! I got to tell you about the world campaign. So that's going ahead brilliantly. 8 planets. 8 planets you guys can fight over. So 8 planets. We have them all broken down. By the way, where can we send videos of our armies? If you go to the About section of my YouTube channel, it'll show you my you click the business email. Okay, so you go to the About. It's so if you're looking on my channel, you'll have home, videos, playlist, channel, discussions, about. You click the About, it says for business inquiries, view email address. And that's what we'll do. So you'll send it to the email. And I'll talk about them. I have no problems with that. But anyway, so the world campaign, 8 planets. Each planet, I think, has roughly around 4 to 6 sectors that you can fight over. And I don't see it. You need to click on it. It says details. So you go to the About under the description, and it says details for business inquiries. Click email address. Oh, you're on your phone. Well, you have to be online to see it. So that's why. If you get to a computer, you'll know it. So anyway, but yeah, the world campaign is going ahead. I'm planning it out. And you guys will have some awesome stuff. So the background story is that it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Yes, it is. So the background story of the world campaign, a little preview to that is, you're depending on who you are, whether you're pro Imperium or pro Chaos. The Imperium is trying to push its way through the Great Rift and establish a travel point to connect to the Dark Imperium. And these 8 planets is in that corridor. So they want to establish it, and then they want to set it up. So it's going to be really fun, a really fun campaign setting. So I hope everyone's ready and excited for that. But anyway, so everyone wants to see Necrons, so we'll get Necrons. And everyone wants to see 40K Warhammer 40K video games. Fire Warrior. P.S. There's a new Warhammer game out. What is that? Which one's that? Is it Vermintide for PC? Because I've heard about that one before. Email sent with pictures of crons. Ah, excellent. So anyway, I really do have to wrap this up. So I want to thank everybody for joining me for this channel update. I'm sorry that YouTube decided to crap out on me. So there's part 1. Oh, it's Inquisition Modder. I think it's Inquisition Modder. Might be mistaken. Mechanicus. I do not know about Mechanicus. That is a new game. So, but anyway, I do apologize for the break in the 2 channel updates. Let me know what you think of the comments below of everything that we talked about in both sets of videos. And I will talk to you guys later. My name is Commissar Hecht. If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, join my Patreon, join my Discord. It's on Master Vulcan. Master Vulcan has it on his YouTube channel. I will check on Master Vulcan. then I will get in touch with him too. By the way, I also want to do some stuff with him as well. But anyway, my name is Commissar Hecht, and I will see you guys in the next video. Like I said, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, join my Discord. Link in the description below. That's the easiest way of getting a hold of me. Join my Patreon if you have the extra funds to donate to my charities. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys in the next video. You guys are all awesome. Bye-bye.